So this is week 3. We're gonna start in module 3. And module 3 starts out with the learning outcomes in module 3. And the foundational knowledge that you will be learning in module 3 in week 3 is going to be time value of money. And if you want to look at some of the content, you can find it in CFIN chapter 4, but I've also added a document and some recordings that's going to help you. So what we're trying to do is to learn the application time value of money, and as you will learn from the recordings that I have provided, it's calculating the future value, present value, annuities, what's called PMT, the rate, number of periods, and so on. Then the time value of money is also applied when we're doing a pro forma. Pro forma basically means forecasting in the future. So based on the assumptions, you will be basically, applying the time value of money formula to do that. And in here, you'll apply it in the Jennings case part C, but there's also another small case study that you can apply in the module that's going to help you learn the content. As far as the assignments are concerned, I have 2 team assignments. One is the buy versus rent case study, where you're going to learn how to do calculations for like mortgage payments, putting together a mortgage schedule, etc. Jennings Part C is a team assignment also. Class discussion, and there is one quiz, time value of money related, that I recommend you watch the videos, and I think it's going to help you to be able to do that. As we get into the discussion thread, it is all about the time value of money. Here, I'd like you to do is to reflect on, what you're learning from the Jennings case study, but more important, how do you see applying this concept at your work, or even in the personal financial planning? How would you apply that? And that's going to give you a feel for not only the formulas, but the more important, what are some of the applications for these formulas. There is a PowerPoint that I will cover through when we do the Zoom class. I'm just going to skip that for right now. We'll meet on Tuesday. We're going to meet this week, and I will set up the Zoom meeting for this week. I have also added a document, which is what I like to call the notes on the time value of money. Quick overview. This would be kind of more a synopsis of what you may find in the textbook, but overview of time value of money. The time value of money concept is also going to be used later on in the semesters when we can apply it for the net present value and internal rate of return. So this is a good foundational knowledge for finance, in general, but also for business and so on. So this is a good document and provides you with some examples you can practice if you want, with some answers in there, etc. So you can do with some practice problems and so on. So this is just a source for you to do that. Then there are some videos in there that I have created for you. I would recommend you watch there are 3 of them. They're pretty short, but it's going to give you a pretty good feel for what you need to know about the time value of money. There are, in the recorded module, I do some examples. So what I've done is provided you with the Excel file so you can see the formulas. So at least you can see when I'm covering it in the recording, at least you'll get a feel for it. You can practice on your own also. So then there is a quiz in there, a short quiz for you to do that. And then we'll get into the buy versus rent case study. In there, I have some questions. So this is more analytical. This is more quantitative. There is no, you don't have to do, a lot of quote unquote, this is not an essay assignment. There are a few questions based on the data. In the case study, you will be using 4% rate, and again, as mortgages are always monthly, so make sure you divide it by 12. In one of the videos, I do talk about that. And so you're basically going to answer these questions. One of the questions is to create a mortgage schedule. So what does that mean? Mortgage schedule basically means for the amount of money somebody's going to borrow for a number of years, obviously monthly, so it would be 100, 120, which is 10 years times 120. Interest rates will be monthly, so it will be 4% divided by 12, which is 0.33%. And then you're going to create the period monthly for 120 periods. So Excel file go all the way down. I have created a video that will help you understand and be able to figure out how to do the mortgage schedule. So please do watch that. I think it's going to help you a lot. And again, then you're going to answer these questions. That's going to help you, do that. So if I go back, next thing is, let me just continue here. So we talked about that. Then there is, like, this is where I talk about the mortgage schedule, how to do it. I've walked you step by step how to do it. So you're going to do some graphics so you can kind of see what it will look like. So this will be a good place to spend some time. It's not going to take you that long, but it's going to give you step by step how to do it. Then there is a Jennings Part C. Jennings Part C is going to be, another a case study, and I think I'm going to talk about that in a second, a little bit more about it. In the Jennings Part case study, what we're going to do is we're going to learn to do forecasting. So here we'll start out with a scenario for 1 year. So the case will describe to you when 1 year looks like, which is called the year zero, which is typically in the time value of money concept, base year is considered as the year zero. What is the quantity, what is the labor cost, material cost, and from there one can figure out what would the income statement look like. So you can kind of look at it here, and you can see it. You can also gonna start to do some operating cash flow. So the formula is provided there for you. And then providing the price and the variable cost, we can figure out the fixed cost and the unit margin and so on. We can figure out the break-even quantity. So here you're applying, you're learning for break-even that you learned and you did a quiz on, in prior week. Some verbiage is how the cash flow is done. Some of the content obviously is from the book. It will give you the reference of page 63 in the business value to demystify. Our goal is to figure out a 5-year from year 0 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 5-year plan starting from year 0. So a total of 6 years if you count the base year. We're going to make some assumptions for the parameters. We're going to assume quantity grows at 5%, price is going to grow at 2%, and there are some other assumptions so on that you're going to follow in here. Now what I have done for you is I provided you with answers, not the formulas. I've given you the answers for what would it look like for base year 1 and year 2. And first thing you want to do, and I've also provided you with an Excel file with these numbers in there. Again, not the formulas, but the numbers in there. Basically, I've given you the answers. So your goal is to now take that Excel file that has got these numbers as input on the top, but the output, which is this portion over here, income statement all the way down from cash flow into the break-even, you want to do is your learning basically is to figure out what formulas go where and how can you replicate year 0, year 1, and year 2. If you can do that, then basically you know how to do it. You're applying the time value of money concept. And then obviously you can replicate from year 3, 4, and 5. And so the assignment basically is that you are going, so what is the overall learning? The overall learning outcome is to create a pro forma from current year to year 5, a total of 6 years. Obviously to do that, use Excel file with answers without the formulas that are provided through year 2, like I mentioned before. First step is to replicate year 0 to 2 by adding the formula. So you'll have to do the formula, that's your learning. And if your formula results in the answers provided, then you know your formulas are working. So in some ways, it takes away some of the guesswork because you will be able to make sure you get to the answers that are provided to you. Now, once you can do that, quote unquote, replicate year 0, 1, and 2, then it will just be copying the formula for year 3, 4, and 5. You're also going to apply what's called the concept of compound average cost growth rate. What is the growth rate for each of the component, which is from year 0 to year 5. Again, you're going to use the rate formula in Excel. Make sure you put the present value, which is the year 0, as a negative number, and should be negative number, and the future value will be positive. So what is your submissions for the assignment? It's actually quite simple in some ways. Your Excel file with the formulas for all the years, including year 0, 1, 2, which you have the answers. You don't have the formulas, but you want to put the formulas to replicate the answers. You're going to include the compounded average cost growth rate for all the line items. Again, I'll give you the hint again from year 0 to 5, and it's going to be 5. And present value should be put into the negative. That's basically most of your grade is to be able to create a pro forma, which means you know how to apply the formulas. Based on the assumptions that are provided in the case as far as the growth rate for quantity, price, etc. Now, based on your Excel file that you're going to come up with, start to look at what are your observations. Look at the cost compounded average growth rate for the different components of the income statement. What do I mean by that? What rate is the sales growing? What rate are some of the other costs growing? Do we see a pattern that we should be concerned with? Is something helping us? Furthermore, tie in your learning of break-even from the prior week. Explore the trend in the fixed versus variable cost. Are they shifting? Does that tell you something? How is the shift in the mix of fixed and variable content impacting the break-even quantity? So that is really your observation. And from there, just imagine you are Sarah's financial director. What would you recommend? So what would you look for? Consider conducting a couple of what ifs. For example, if you were telling Sarah, hey, Sarah, I think you should do this, whatever assumptions, whatever parameters you want to modify, change it, and then do some what ifs. So in the Word document, about 1.5 to 2 pages, single space, provide your key takeaways from your baseline 5-year forecast that you're going to provide. What does it kind of tell you, right? And based on the pro forma results, provide your recommendation to Sarah, like consider a couple of what ifs. I want you to be able to learn to say, if I change these parameters, what happens to my overall income statement and the cash flow, etc. So test some parameters, and you can just describe to say, I think, Sarah, I think you should do this, maybe, whatever you want to do. And again, this is your what if. The learning really is your what if kind of connecting to the input and the outputs. So a couple of what if scenarios and then the respective pro formas. When you do the pro formas, you're basically going to have similar format of the Excel spreadsheet. Just include the what ifs as separate tabs in Excel submission, when you're going to submit the baseline on the top over there. So the Excel file that I've given you, it basically looks like this. It's provided to you with all these numbers, no formulas. Your job is to be able to replicate these and then create this. Here is the compounded average cost growth rate. Here you can see the prices, obviously it's changing, variable costs, etc., fixed costs, unit margin, break even, and kind of see if it tells you something. And again, this is just part of the learning for you to do that. So I hope this is helpful for you.